All right, let's change out the fourth chair. Thank you again so much, Andy.
Oh no. Hi.
And as our fire team makes their way into the next encounter, it's our pleasure to introduce to you an audio designer on the Scourge of the Past raid. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
Well, I am Jenny Labonte, and I am a sound designer here, and I work on primarily ambience, interactive device objects, and UI.
Yeah, so
Fantastic.
we would meet with Jenny and the rest of the audio designers like Carson Rohan and stuff like that, like once a week to try to go over like, this is what we're designing right now, and how does that affect you guys? And what do you guys want?
And everything affected us.
Everything.
Everything needs audio with any kind of change that comes in, and just figuring out how it's actually going to be built. And a lot of it on the sound design side is more than just creating the sounds, but it's figuring out how it's going to be implemented and actually interact with the character. And we have to build it that way so it's broken up. Like with the melee button, it actually has 6 separate components of audio instead of just like one sound. Is this camera? Okay. Gotcha. But yeah, and yeah, everything's a little more kind of broken up than just like one sound to a device that you may think going into it, which is kind of the fun part of putting it together piece by piece that way.
One of the big challenges is like our teams are too big to be co-located and sitting right next to each other, and so Catherine's facilitating that interaction, and we're constantly trying to keep each other up to date on where we're at with what's changed, what's ready to go into the next phase of production. All that coordination is critical.
Yeah, thanks.
Fantastic. Well, let's delve deeper into the activity and we can talk about everything that people are seeing and playing with some special attention paid to audio, of course.
Yeah, so I can sort of set this up a little bit. Dan Miller was the designer that owned this experience. And we all, whenever we're building an encounter, we try to come up with like an experience statement at first that really encapsulates what it's about, so that everyone understands what we're building and there's a clear goal, and we can ask ourselves when we're adding a component, does this meet the goals or not? And so we had Dan's idea, to race speeders through the underground tunnel. We wanted this to be like an exciting thrill ride. Yeah, and I give a ton of credit to Dan for understanding like the emotional impact of being pursued here by this servitor.
And Frank Robbins was our world artist who really built the roller coaster through this space, and I think it came out fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he pretty much on his own came up with all of the twists and turns, and I think there's some really interesting subtleties where you need to let off the gas and slow down here and speed up there, and there's sort of tricks to the course.
And it's a little hard to hear with all the combat going on, but I did try to add some kind of like whooshes for sense of speed in there, so you kind of really feel like you're, getting a good amount of speed going through there, and it kind of adds to the adrenaline of being chased by this giant servitor. But yeah, it gets a little crazy, of course, but.
I know in the previous bubble even we had conversations about like the atmosphere, right? What the player's hearing when there's no combat going on.
Yeah.
It makes the city feel alive.
Yeah, and that's really like in between these heavy combat areas, it really was a chance to kind of shine with ambience, and I wanted to make it as creepy as possible.